We don't say that Islam is here to live, to coexist with lots of different religions and all of us can just hold hands and be friends. This religion was sent to dominate the world.
Islam has no commercial value in the US because the US runs on capitalism, and Islam promotes values that directly contradict what US capitalism promotes. Islam promotes modesty, sobriety, discipline, self-control, all qualities that don't fit well with a consumer-driven culture that depends on indulgence and instant gratification.
More than half of the people that convert to Islam every year are women, and that makes a lot of men, specifically Western men, very upset.
Do you think Islam will eventually overtake Christianity here in the United States?
Worldwide, not just United States. We have people converting every day.
And what leads a Christian man to convert to Islam?
When they read the Quran and they find the truth.
What happened when two completely different world views try to exist in the same space? I'm talking about small differences. I'm talking about belief, values, expectation. Because everybody walked into a place thinking this is how things should be. But what happens when reality says, no, this is how it actually is? Don't just listen to this, what I'm saying. Let's go watch some of this clip I'll be showing you. Then we come back because this conversation is deeper than it looks. So guys, without wasting much time, let's go ahead and watch those clips together and come back later for our full analysis and conversation.
We don't say that Islam is here to live, to coexist with lots of different religions and all of us can just hold hands and be friends. This religion was sent to dominate the world. It was sent to be superior, to extinguish the light of every other religion and to be superior to it. We're not shy to say it, and we don't find that to be something that we should be shy to say. That this religion has been sent to dominate, to wipe out, to take out every other religion, to eclipse it, to be superior to it, to have the people leave every religion and to accept Islam. And if that requires fighting to achieve it, then it requires fighting to achieve it. Because the greatest purpose for which jihad was legislated is to make the word of Allah the highest and the word of those who disbelieve the lowest.
Islam has no commercial value in the US because the US runs on capitalism, and Islam promotes values that directly contradict what US capitalism promotes. Islam promotes modesty, sobriety, discipline, self-control, all qualities that don't fit well with a consumer-driven culture that depends on indulgence and instant gratification. Just think about it. Islam prohibits alcohol, and which are two of the most massive industries in the US that rake in billions of dollars every single year. Even modesty, it is a core value in Islam, but American advertising glorifies the opposite to sell products. Even the way capitalism constantly encourages people to want more gadgets, more clothes, more experiences, it doesn't align with one of Islam's core values of teaching gratitude and living within your means. Capitalism is built on the idea that happiness is something that you buy, but Islam teaches that true contentment comes from self-discipline, faith, and community. The truth is, Islam doesn't just sit outside of the system, it actively calls it out. So it's no surprise that Islam isn't marketed or celebrated in America because it challenges the very foundation that America is built on.
You will not believe what this Muslim man did to me and my son. Me and my kids went to the Renaissance Fair and we didn't know that it was supposed to rain. We're there for about an hour and it starts like torrential downpouring, okay? So bad to where my shoes and my ankles completely covered in mud and we're just soaked through it with rain. And as we're walking through the crowd, okay, and I'm talking hundreds, maybe thousands of people are surrounding us, heading back to the car, this Muslim man stops me, and I know he's Muslim because he's wearing a keffiyeh, and he's with like his, I want to say 10-year-old son. This guy had the audacity to offer me and my son his umbrella. The only thing he had that was sheltering himself and his own child, he was willing to give up and give to a total stranger to shelter me and my son. I had to basically beg him, like, no, it's okay, because we're heading back to the car right now. I don't want to take your umbrella if we're just going to be in the car in the next, 10 minutes. But I have to tell you, it was such, a quick experience, but I will remember that kindness and compassion for the rest of my life.
It's very shocking to be one of the only women who's dressed normally and not wearing a head covering, but nobody's really made a problem about it or they haven't made a problem about me recording either. In fact, we've had some really insightful conversations. So in many ways, it does seem like what we see on social media is very dramatized. But at the same time, I don't believe personally that Islam is a peaceful religion, and something sounds very off about it to me.
Take a slight left on Hamtramck Drive. In 3/4 of a mile, use the left lane to turn left on Joseph Campo Street.
I just got dropped off at Joseph Campo Avenue, and again, as you can see, the text is in Arabic. This guy's running for city council. They also have another one of these immigration and tax services. Lots of hookah shops and barber shops and halal meats.
So I live in a Muslim majority neighborhood in New York City, and it was not always a Muslim majority neighborhood. Previously, it was mainly Italians who lived here, and majority of the Muslims and Bengalis had immigrated here in like the 80s, 90s. And today I'm listening to the Adhan playing the call to prayer out loud, and this has been happening for years now. Our neighborhood was in one of the first neighborhoods in which it played out loud for the first time. I know that that was only possible because of the struggle that my dad and other members of our community had went through, the connections that they made in order to make these things possible and to make it safe. Especially living in a post 9/11 world, like, making that happen, you can only imagine how difficult that was. And in my life, I'd only ever heard it in Bangladesh, so being able to hear it here 5 times a day, I'm so appreciative for all the effort that went into it.
The future of Islam in the West.
Alhamdulillah, the future is ours. Islam's going to spread. There's no doubt to it. The West is West, East, North, South, it's all going to be Muslim.
Yeah.
Right? I have absolutely no doubt to that. The only question is, Rami, are me and you going to be a part of that, or are we going to be on the sidelines? Islam is not a spectator sport.
Yeah.
You got to step up. Everybody has tried to stop Islam. The Mongols, alhamdulillah, they ended up becoming Muslim. All these empires had plans to finish Islam. Islam's not going anywhere. Al-aqibatu lil-muttaqeen, the end and the victory is going to be for the believers.
Someone needs to help me to understand, why do Muslims get unnaturally violent and angry when someone opposes Islam, or when someone queries Islam, or when someone has a different opinion that goes against Islamic beliefs? Because if your purpose and if your goal is to convert people to your religion, why do you use anger and violence to do that? Why do you use anger and violence to get your point across? I just saw a video of Young Spray trying to drag Kidavelli off a set from their podcast because he must have said that Christianity is the truth. If you are so convinced, 10 toes down with the fact that Islam is the way, the truth, and the life, why must you get angry to prove your point? This is what I don't understand, because in Christianity, the Bible literally instructs us that when we are confronted with people who oppose the truth of Christianity, that we shouldn't get violent, we shouldn't quarrel with them. Instead, we should correct them in patience, in peace, and in humility, hoping that God will reveal the truth onto them and bring them into repentance. But with Muslims, what I find is that these men are ready to fight you. Forget fighting, these men are ready to kill you if you don't believe in their faith. And it's crazy because the fruit of the Spirit in Christianity is peace, gentleness, kindness, patience. But in Islam, it seems that the only fruit that is being born is anger, violence. What is going on there? Someone needs to explain the science to me.
I have a question for all the Muslim immigrants who immigrate to the United States. Why would you rather live in America and not live in your current country? Is it because your current country is oppressive? Is it because it's under Islamic rule and you'd rather live under Western rule so you have freedom? Because I think that's why. So my question is, why would you want to live in the United States but still bring Islam with you? Why? If it's so oppressive that you don't even want to live under Islamic rule, then why would you want to spread Islam to the United States if you're coming here to get away from it so you could be free? Please let me know in the comments, because this is something that me, my followers, and many other people can't seem to understand.
you think Islam will eventually overtake Christianity here in the United States?
Worldwide, not just United States. We have people converting every day.
And what leads a Christian man to convert to Islam?
When they read the Quran and they find the truth, and they read it in English, and they see how peaceful Islam is.
What are some large misconceptions about Islam here in the United States?
That Muslim women are suppressed.
And what makes you choose to wear the hijab?
My religion, I started wearing the hijab when I was 16 years old.
And what would happen if you didn't wear that hijab?
Nothing would happen. It's your choice.
And could you shake a man's hand?
No.
Do you find that interesting that women can't shake other men's hands?
No, I don't find that interesting. It's normal.
And why do you think Islam is the largest growing religion here in the United States right now?
Because of our Quran. Our Quran, our book never changes. It's one book, one language, one religion. There's Islam in all over the world.
Is it true that Muslims also practice polygamy?
Yes.
Would you accept another wife into your marriage?
In our religion, it says.
Have you ever wondered why the majority of people who are converting to Islam are women? And no, if I could even do a bigger eye roll, I would. It's not just for their husbands. It's because we're starting to realize that what the world calls freedom is actually not freedom at all. We were sold the idea that being half naked was empowerment and seeking validation from men was okay, and that femininity, being feminine, was weak. But Islam, and I'm talking true Islam, doesn't ask women to be anything less than what they are. Islam encourages the world to respect women more. And the deeper you look into it, you'll realize that Islam doesn't oppress women. It liberates us from everything that ever did. And to be clear, I'm not talking about what some Muslim countries do in their own cultures. I'm talking about what Islam actually teaches. When you start to study Islam yourself, it starts to make a lot more sense. And to some of us, it actually just feels like home.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Just super quickly, would you all support Sharia law coming to America?
Oh, are you recording?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
America is a country not founded on Sharia law, and bringing that into America is a very difficult process, and I don't think it would fit in. America is all types of ethnicities and cultures, and putting in Sharia law just projects America into one category, which is not what America Freedom is all about.
There's not a Muslim in the US right now that would not tell you to go to their mosque if you're hungry. There's not one. Not a true Muslim. Because what you're finding out is good too for Christians. So we can work together as cousins, not enemies. We're cousins. My Islamic friends will understand we're cousins. Ishmael, we're cousins. Okay? They will feed you. They will help you. And guess what? They're not going to ask you for money. You don't have to read the Quran. You don't have to pray. You don't even have to walk in their building where they pray. Okay? They always have a separate area, usually with food. All they may ask is that you, as a mom and children, sit separately. That's a respect thing. They're not holding women back as much as keeping them safe. And you can pray or worship or eat without worrying some weirdos looking at you. Okay? Because they are intelligent enough to know that even in church, like, that's going to happen. Okay? Stop being shocked that you've bought into BS. Okay? Now is not the time to be ignorant anymore. If you are hungry, don't call your church. Look up a mosque, M-O-S-Q-U-E, in case you cannot spell it or don't know how to spell it, so we're not going to look it up wrong. Call them and tell them you're hungry. Tell them your family size, and if they can't help you at that mosque, they will help find somebody who can help you. They believe in Jesus too. Maybe they follow him a little bit more closely than our churches do. Maybe we can learn from them, because we're not doing the right thing right now. I haven't been to church in 15 years because of that. Because once I found out that they didn't do it like the other religions, I was like, whoa. Maybe we need to go back to the beginning.
If you're hungry, go to a mosque. And maybe ask Iman to pray for you, okay? They will. They'll pray for you and your family. Iman is like a reverend or preacher. Because we could all use a little prayer from everybody right now.
Why are women in America converting to Islam? Why are women, feminists, liberals, converting to Islam? I remember specifically when I was a teenager in like 2014 to like 2016, when we were in conflict with ISIS, there were girls who were in the US, raised in the US, who went to ISIS to convert to whatever they were doing, and they ended up getting starved and tortured. They were doing it out of rebellion of their parents and their westernized culture because they were convinced that they were white and wrong. Hoda Muthana went to Syria in 2014 to convert to Islam with ISIS, and she ended up confessing that she was regretting it, she was brainwashed, and she was starved and tortured. Jalen Young and her fiance from Mississippi were actually arrested on their way to Syria to help ISIS materially. A congressional task force reported that there is roughly 20% of the aspiring American people who were trying to help ISIS ended up dying. Men died at a higher rate because they were men that went with the women from America. Women actually didn't die as high as a rate because they were taken in as concubines. Now we have women, liberal women in America, converting to Islam in America. Like, this was like 10 years ago. This happened 10 years ago. And it's like, we have such short-term memory in America. We're flooded with so much information and news and guilt for just being alive and being in America. Meanwhile, we aren't actually taught the full encompassing history of Islam, Christianity, the West, the Middle East, the separation of church and state, and why that matters. The left always preach separation of church and state when it comes to Christianity and the government, but then they're converting to Islam, which there is literally no separation of church and state because Islam in itself is a political ideology. Okay, I'm gonna go get coffee now.
More than half of the people that convert to Islam every year are women, and that makes a lot of men, specifically Western men, very upset. That really worries that specific type of man because they know at that point that that woman is pretty much unavailable to them because ideally when you convert to Islam, you're supposed to marry a Muslim man. And I think that's part of why they work so hard to push the narrative of Islam being oppressive, because they think that if they repeat that enough times, women will just believe that. But when women actually look into it for themselves, they realize it's not, they still convert, and that makes those men mad. And other than those women no longer being available as potential partners for them, I think another reason that they get so upset about it is the fact that Islam really does grant women more control over themselves and how they are perceived. Like, they tell you that hijab is oppressive and they try to tell you that you have no autonomy and blah, 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 blah. But in reality, most women who wear the hijab are choosing to do it for the fact that it gives them the autonomy over their own body and who gets to see it. When you think about how sexualized the society is in the US, a woman covering her body does make a lot of those men mad because she is defying the standard of being visually appealing to those men. And I think that's also why a lot of people get mad about women covering, is because they think that a woman wouldn't choose that because we're conditioned in the US to believe that showing your body and showing everything is like a norm, and it's almost pushed on you, especially if you look at clothing. Like, women's clothing is generally a lot tighter. Pretty much every top is cropped nowadays. Even little girls' clothes compared to little boys' clothes. Girls' shorts are so much shorter than boys' shorts for no reason. When you're a child, you're built almost exactly the same way. But because we're conditioned to think that freedom and a woman's worth is centered in being, not always naked, but being visible. Like, these men have to be able to see you so they can decide how to treat you. But when a woman chooses to cover up, it kind of takes that away, and they don't like that. few other theories as to why Islam makes men, specifically in America, upset, but I want to see how this one kind of gets traction first before I bring that other one.
Let's slow it down for a moment. This situation is not just about one group or one moment. It's about something bigger. What happens when expectation meets a system that already has its own structure? Because every country, every society has its own way of doing things. Let's be real. A lot of tension comes from this, what people expect versus what they experience. And when those two don't match, that's where frustration starts because people come in thinking this is how it should work, but reality doesn't always adjust to expectation. Here's the truth people don't always say. Different culture and belief system can coexist, but it takes understanding, respect, adaptation on both sides because without that, you get conflict instead of connection. Now let's bring this into a deeper perspective. For many Black Americans, navigation system that wasn't always built with them in mind is not new. There is already an understanding of adjusting to environment, finding balance between identity and structure, knowing when to push and when to adapt. So conversation like this, they eat differently because the idea of fitting into a system while holding on to identity, that's a lived experience for a lot of people. This kind of topic goes viral because people pick side quickly. Some says people should fully adapt, others says people should be free to express their belief. And the truth is usually sits somewhere in between. Let's not forget something important. Behind every headlines, behind every viral clip, there are real people involved, people with background, stories, and emotion. And when things clash, it's not just ideology, it's human. Here is the part that matters most. Every society has rules, every individual has identity, and balance is not always easy. Because without balance, you don't get coexistence, you get division. So everyone watching this, take a step back and think. Before jumping to conclusion, ask what's really going on here? What perspectives are being ignored? What can be understood better? Because real understanding takes more than just reaction. If you make it this far, I want your honest opinion. Do you think people should fully adapt to a system or should system make room for different beliefs? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. And if you want more real conversation like this, hit the subscribe button right now because we are not just reacting, we are thinking deeper because at the end of the day, this is not just about one moment, it's about how people live together with different views in the same space. And the real question is, can difference create can differences create understanding or will they always create division? Thank you for watching. I will see you all in my next video.